Hey everybody, Qroo here. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be expanding more on the use of the subjunctive, and I'm going to be covering an expression that I use a lot both in English and in Spanish. I probably use it a lot in Spanish because I use it in English, and that is to hope for something. So, for example, I was driving my wife to Valladolid the other day in Mexico. It started getting cloudy, so I was like, I hope it doesn't rain. And then it did start raining. And then I was like, well, I hope it stops raining soon. And then I was like, well, I hope we get to the restaurant in time before there are a lot of people. And I hope there's not a lot of people. And then I realized I say I hope a lot. And I'm actually saying all this in Spanish. So I thought, hey, these expressions often use the subjunctive, but not always, sometimes the infinitive. So I thought, what a great lesson for people. So if you're working with the subjunctive, this is a great lesson for you. If you have no idea how to conjugate into the subjunctive, you should watch that video first. I'll put a link to it in the description portion. The verb we're going to be working with is esperar. Esperar. And it means to wait for or to hope for. We're going to be using the to hope for part. Now, if you've been watching my other videos, I really cater to English speakers. And I try to show English speakers how to use your English language, that's your language paradigm, and relate it to Spanish to help you, as an adult learner, learn this new language more effectively and be able to create grammatically correct sentences without having any ear for the language. Well, one of the ways I do that is to teach you little formulas or plug-and-play phrases, as I often call them. Some people call them chunks. That's a new term I'm hearing lately. But today I'm going to be covering two plug-and-play phrases or formulas or chunks or whatever you want to call it. Here's our first one. And if in our sentence we do not have a subject change, and you'll see what I mean by that when we go through all the examples, then we're going to be using this formula. Esperar plus the infinitive. And the infinitive is the unconjugated verb. Here's an example. Espero llegar temprano. I hope to arrive early. Now, you'll notice I didn't put the yo on there, and that's because espero can only belong to I, the first person, and in Spanish, it's customary to leave off, the subjects or those pronouns if it's very clear from the conjugation of the verb or the context of the conversation who the verb belongs to. That's really common. So in our examples, we're going to be leaving that off where possible. The next formula is if we have a subject change. Then we're going to be using esperar plus que plus the subjunctive. Espero que María llegue temprano. I hope Maria arrives early. Now, the verb there is llegar, to arrive, but this is conjugated in the subjunctive mood. And again, if you don't know how to conjugate the subjunctive mood, I do have a video about that. You really need to go watch that one first. So this doesn't look too hard, right? We have a formula if there's no subject change, and then we have a formula if there is a subject change. Let's see if you can translate a couple sentences on your own, and we're going to be using that first formula, esperar plus infinitive. So, I hope to be able to go to the beach. See if you can translate that. I hope to be able to go to the beach. Now, if you need more time, you can pause the video because I'm not going to take a lot of time between giving you the English and giving you the Spanish. Espero poder ir a la playa. Espero poder ir a la playa. I hope to be able to go to the beach. Again, that's the first formula because there is no subject change, right? I am the only subject of that sentence. Here's another one for you to translate. I hope to be able to visit my cousin this weekend. I hope to be able to visit my cousin this weekend. Espero poder visitar a mi primo, or you could have said prima if it's a female cousin, este fin de semana. Espero poder visitar a mi primo este fin de semana. Now, some people may be confused to think, well, Paul, doesn't that have two subjects in it because I have I and my cousin? No, in this sentence, there's only one subject, and it's I. Mi primo, my cousin, is actually an object. And the way you can know is who's controlling the verbs here. So if I said, let's say, who hopes to be able to visit? I. Okay, so then I'm a subject. So you see mi primo there, there's no verb associated with that person. That's how you know that that's going to be an object. The really nice thing about this formula is you're only conjugating the first verb. You're conjugating esperar, right? And then after that, you're just popping on infinitives the unconjugated verbs. I like to think of it as that first verb is the locomotive of a train. It's doing all the work. And those infinitives are just cars. You're just clicking them together. It just makes it a lot easier to do in your head. But it can get a little more complex when we deal with reflexive verbs. So I'm going to cover that right now. So take a look at this sentence. Espero poder mudarme a México. I hope to be able to move to Mexico. And if you're not familiar with that verb mudarse, that comes from that. That's the reflexive here. It means to like move, as in change residence. It's a pretty useful verb. You might want to add that one to your verb list. But in this example, even though we're just popping on infinitives after espero, like poder, that's the infinitive, and mudarme, you're like, oh, that's not mudarse. So what happened there? Well, mudar is really the infinitive. You'll see that part stayed the same. What's changing is that other part of the reflexive, and that's going to have to agree with that subject. So if I say, I hope to be able to move to Mexico, espero poder mudarme. That's going to be me, a México. Let's go through some other ones and say you, he, she, we, just to give you an idea what we're talking about. You hope to be able to move to Mexico, and this is the you informal or the tú form. Esperas poder mudarte a México. Esperas poder mudarte a México. See, it's a te there. And it's just attached to that infinitive. We'll go to third person, which is also our usted form. Juan espera poder mudarse a México. It's back to se, because that's our third person singular, and also usted would fall under that one. Esperamos poder mudarnos a México. See, it's nos, because it's we, right? Esperamos. And our last one, las mujeres esperan poder mudarse a México. It's back to se. That is going to be our third person plural, and it's also where we're going to stick ustedes, which is you plural. That's still not too difficult, right? We're really only talking about me, te, se, no, se, and working with the reflexive, but we're still just popping on those train cars. See if you can translate this one. We hope to arrive early. We hope to arrive early. Esperamos llegar temprano. Esperamos llegar temprano. And I didn't say nosotros esperamos or nosotras esperamos because from the verb, esperamos can only be we. So it's kind of redundant to stick that on there. So just esperamos llegar temprano. Piece of cake, right? Here's another one for you. I hope to find time to practice Spanish. I hope to find time to practice Spanish. Espero encontrar tiempo para practicar español. Espero encontrar tiempo para practicar español. Did you get it? That one was a little longer, but it wasn't super complex, right? And as we go through this, if you see certain constructions that you like, pause the video and write them down, and start to work them into your Spanish. Okay, that's enough with just the infinitive. What I really want you to work on in this lesson is the subjunctive. So let's go to our second formula. Esperar plus que plus the subjunctive. All right? So, do you think you can get one on your own? Let's try. Let's just try. I hope it doesn't rain. I hope it doesn't rain. It's like my trip to Valladolid. That was not very successful. It rained. Espero que no llueva. Espero que no llueva. See that? It comes from the verb llover, to rain. And normally in the regular present tense, the indicative, which I just call the plain old present tense, it would be llueve and end with an E. But this is llueva and it's ending with an A. And that's because it's in the subjunctive mood. Here's another one for you. I hope it stops raining soon. I hope it stops raining soon. Espero que deje de llover pronto. Espero que deje de llover pronto. Did you get that one? So in this one, I used a rather really useful construction, and if you don't already know it, it's dejar plus de plus infinitive, and it is to stop doing something. It's really common in Spanish, and here we're using it for rain. Sometimes we can even use it more as a command form, like we telling somebody to stop doing something is also really common. And if we do that in the informal, tú, using the imperative, and that's another mood, I would say something like, deja de hablar. Stop talking. Deja de hablar. Stop talking. Deja de preocuparte. Deja de preocuparte. Stop worrying. Now, This actually comes, the second part, from the verb preocuparse, which means to worry. But that's a reflexive verb, right? So we had to do the little trick we showed you earlier, which you already know how to do because I just showed you earlier, right? So since this is you talking to tú, you have to make sure that that's the te. That little se changed to te. One last one. Deja de juzgar a los demás. Stop judging others. Deja de juzgar a los demás. All right, now let's move on a little bit. And before we do, we're going to tweak some sentences, but I want to remind folks or teach some folks about what I think is my favorite Spanish word because it's so versatile, and that is the word I, pronounced like your I. And it means there is or there are. Now to make it a question, we just kind of change our inflection. I, and then whatever, and it would mean is there or are there. Super, super useful word. Really easy for beginners because there's really no conjugation involved. So I could say something like, ¿Hay café? Is there any coffee? And some people will be like, well, what is the word for any? In Spanish, you're just going to say I and the item. And it doesn't matter if it's singular or plural. I could say, ¿Hay fresas? Are there any strawberries? And I can tweak it a little. ¿Hay más fresas? Are there any more strawberries? Super, super useful word. Well, in the present subjunctive mood, I would become haya. And we're going to plug that into our formula, our esperar plus que plus subjunctive, and our subjunctive is going to be haya, and we're going to be making sentences like this. So, see if you can translate this one. I hope there's coffee. I hope there's coffee. Espero que haya café. Espero que haya café. Did you get that one? See how useful this is? You can just start popping these out all the time, right? They're real easy to translate into your mind because the word order is very similar to English. Here's another one. I hope there are strawberries. I hope there are strawberries. And I just taught you the word for strawberries like a second ago. Espero que haya fresas. Espero que haya fresas. I hope there are more strawberries. I hope there are more strawberries. Espero que haya más fresas. Espero que haya más fresas. Now this is an expression I use not just for asking about fruit and things. I'll say something like, because I hate to wait in line and I loathe it actually. So I might say something like as we go to the restaurant, I hope there's an available table. And you try that one. I hope there's an available table. Or you could even make it, I hope there's a table available, if that helps. It's not really going to change the Spanish much. Espero que haya una mesa disponible. Espero que haya una mesa disponible. I hope there's an available table. Did you get that one? Disponible is a really good adjective to know. For available, you might want to write that one down. And this is another one I said on my way back from Valladolid. I hope there isn't much traffic in Tulum. I hope there isn't much traffic in Tulum. And there was a lot of traffic. Espero que no haya mucho tráfico en Tulum. Espero que no haya mucho tráfico en Tulum. And we'll do one more of these, just one more. Okay? See if you can do it. I hope there aren't a lot of people in the supermarket. I hope there aren't a lot of people in the supermarket. Espero que no haya mucha gente en el supermercado. And you could just say el super with a little accent on the U. We do say that a lot. Espero que no haya mucha gente en el super. I actually think that's easier to say. Now I'm actually going to give you two sentences here to translate. I hope to be able to move to Mexico this year. I hope to be able to move to Mexico this year. And the other one I want you to translate is, I hope that we can move to Mexico this year. I hope that we can move to Mexico this year. Okay, you ready? Let's do the first one. I hope to be able to move to Mexico this year. Espero poder mudarme a México este año. There's no subject change, so we did not use the subjunctive, right? Did you get that one right? Now, our second one, we did have a subject change. I hope that we can move to Mexico this year. There are two subjects, I and we, so that's going to require our second formula. Espero que podamos mudarnos a México este año. Espero que podamos mudarnos a México este año. If you got those last two right, then you're understanding when to use the subjunctive and when to use the infinitive. I hope that our luggage fits in the trunk. I hope that our luggage fits in the trunk. Espero que nuestro equipaje quepa en la cajuela. Or you may have used el baúl. Or you may have used el maletero. So a lot of different words for trunk. It's going to depend what country you're from. Okay, so in this sentence, quepa comes from the verb caber, which means to fit. It's a useful Spanish word. And in the present indicative or the plain old present tense, that would conjugate as quepo, cabes, cabe, cabemos, caben. So we base the subjunctive off of the conjugation in the indicative of the first person, that quepo, right? You already know this because you watched my video on how to conjugate the subjunctive. Or if you didn't, you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Paul. So our subjunctive would be quepa, quepas, quepa, quepamos, quepan. I'm only pointing this one out because quepa doesn't look anything like caber. So that one might have thrown you off. Here's another one for you. I hope that you get better soon. I hope that you get better soon. This is something we say a lot to people when they're sick. Espero que te mejores pronto. Espero que te mejores pronto. And this comes from the reflexive mejorarse. How about this one? I hope you like it. I hope you like it. Now we're not saying what it is, but it's really not important. It's not going to change our translation. Espero que te guste. Espero que te guste. So it's guste, it's in the subjunctive. That comes from gustar, right? Piece of cake, right? Let's tweak that sentence just a little bit. I hope you like the video. I hope you like the video. Espero que te guste el video. Espero que te guste el video. As you're working through these, are they getting easier? Are you popping out that espero que right away and then your mind is starting to think? That's how it works. Just through the repetition of some of these formulas, you're not having to put as much thought into that. So it's actually giving you a fraction of a second or a second to think about the rest of the sentence. Here's one for those folks that want to use this construction to be romantic. I hope that you know that I love you. I hope that you know that I love you. Espero que sepas que te quiero or que te amo. You can use either one of those. Espero que sepas que te quiero o te amo. Here's a super useful sentence starter for you that's a little longer than just espero que. And it is, I hope that you have the opportunity to do something. Espero que tengas la oportunidad de plus just infinitive. You're just going to plug in infinitives. Try this one. I hope that you have the opportunity to meet my sister. I hope that you have the opportunity to meet my sister. Espero que tengas la oportunidad de conocer a mi hermana. Did you use conocer and not saber? Good job on that. There's a difference. Conocer and saber both mean to know. Saber is to know facts or know how to do something. And conocer is to know people, places, things like that. Or to meet someone for the first time. Here's another one for you. I hope that you have the opportunity to visit Mexico. I hope that you have the opportunity to visit Mexico. Now the first part of this should just come out. Espero que tengas la oportunidad de. So that part's just coming out and you're just trying to figure out visit Mexico, visit Mexico. Espero que tengas la oportunidad de. Now we're going to tweak this one just a little bit. I hope that we have the opportunity to practice Spanish. This shouldn't slow you down too much, right? All right, here it is. Espero que tengamos la oportunidad de practicar español. Espero que tengamos la oportunidad de practicar español. Just a couple more examples for you to work through and we're done with the lesson, right? Are these getting easier? I hope they are. I hope you can come tomorrow. I hope you can come tomorrow. Espero que puedas venir mañana. Espero que puedas venir mañana. Now, lately in my videos, I've tried to make them progressively more difficult as we work through so people of different levels will get something out of them. And I don't want to drop the ball on this lesson, so I'm going to give you a sentence that is more challenging. Okay? Let's see if you can get it on your own. Ready? I hope that you can find something that you like. I hope that you can find something that you like. Espero que puedas encontrar algo que te guste. Espero que puedas encontrar algo que te guste. Did you get that one right? Chances are that you got the espero que puedas encontrar algo right, because we're using the subjunctive, right? Poder is in the subjunctive. But that te guste, why is that in the subjunctive too? Did you have trouble with that? That is a different use of the subjunctive that I haven't covered in this video at all. And maybe I'll dedicate a future video to it. In fact, I'm sure I will if I don't get bored with YouTube and pick up another hobby. I've been looking at kiteboarding a lot lately. It looks pretty fun. Well, I'll eventually get to it. So why are we using the subjunctive here? Well, it's because, what are we talking about here? I hope that you can find something that you like. Are we talking about a specific thing that we know exists? No. So are we just looking for something? Does it have some qualifiers? Are we looking for a special something? Well, I'm looking for something that you like. So yes, that thing may or may not exist. So there's a K, and in the next clause, that's the subjunctive. That's how that works. And that's going to be a whole lesson dedicated just to that. And I'm going to give you one more sentence that follows that construction, just for those folks that want to redeem themselves if they got that last one wrong. And again, it's not going to be a super easy one because that's not how we end these lessons. I hope that we can find a house that faces the lake. I hope that we can find a house that faces the lake. Espero que podamos encontrar una casa que dé al lago. Espero que podamos encontrar una casa que dé al lago. So, the espero que podamos, I hope we can, right? Encontrar, find, una casa. Are we talking about a specific house we know exists? No, we're not. A house. Any house? Blue house? No, I would like a house that faces the lake. So we have que, and then we have the verb de. That actually comes from dar. And this is an expression you may or may not know, and it can mean to face, as in, we're talking about buildings and like set structures will face something, not like you're facing something. Dar, a, mean, and whatever the object is, faces. So we have here, de al lago, faces the lake, or it's like giving to the lake. So if you think that's a useful expression, be sure to jot that down or type or whatever people are doing now, text it on your phone. You know, just somehow record this thing. Here's just an example of a sentence that uses dar a, mi casa da al parque. My house faces the park. Well, that's it. That's the end of the lesson. I hope you've learned something new. And, well, you could actually just translate that, what I just said. I hope you learned something new. Espero que hayas aprendido algo nuevo. See? We can just do these all day, right? All right. If you liked the video, just give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, you might want to subscribe because I cover a lot of things, you know, about Spanish. Until next time, hasta luego.